Well, there's not many deer on our property right now that have got me excited to get out and hunt, to harvest a deer for myself. Limpy Gimpy's one of them. He's a big mature buck that's going to be really hard to harvest. He's smart, he's old, and need some buckets for this. So you know, some people really get all upset and complain when you stack buckets together, but I just don't see the problem. They just come right apart, you know, no big deal, just take them apart. I don't know, some people have an issue with things, I guess. Well, what's up, guys? It's Daniel from Arms Family Homestead, and I'm telling you what, this is some incredible weather. Oklahoma is like perfect. It's the perfect time of year right now, and we have had multiple rain showers. Probably, I would say over the last week, we've probably had a total of 2 inches of rain. So not a drought killer by any means, but we have gotten rain. And my family and I just got back from the Gulf Coast Homesteaders meetup in Milton, Florida, which is about this far from Pensacola. Any guesses where we stayed? So DJ and I and Emily and Houston all went down and spent about 3 days on the Gulf Coast. Went to the Gulf Coast Homestead meetup 2 days. We spoke on Friday, and then Saturday, Jason and Brooke from Cog Hill were the main speakers, keynote speakers, if you want to call it that, and got to hang out with them and eat dinner and stuff. So we had a great time. Got to meet a lot of you guys, a lot of other smaller channels, a lot of fans, followers, all that stuff. And it was a lot of fun. And I think this was their second annual meetup or conference, or they called it the Gulf Coast Homestead Meetup, but it was really more just like an expo. They had all kinds of vendors and food trucks and pig butchering demonstrations and chicken processing demonstrations and all kinds of stuff. But it was a lot of fun. Got to see a lot of people. Got to hang out with some friends, and some friends that I'd never actually met in person until this past weekend. But anyways, I've come out today. I'm trying to get caught up on everything. When you're gone for 3 or 4 days, especially when it's raining, it's just you got to play catch up. And Weston stayed back and did all the chores and fed all the animals and did everything for us, so that was taken care of. But on the pig trap in front and the deer hunt in front, I was really hoping, how cool would it have been for us to have pigs coming into the trap while we were in Florida and been able to drop that trap and catch some pigs while we're out of state. I thought that'd be really cool. I'd been able to call Josh, have him come pick them up, and I just thought it'd make for a cool video to be able to show that we can trap pigs in that big pig trap anywhere in the world. But unfortunately, well, that didn't happen. I don't know if I would say that's too unfortunate. I'm kind of glad it didn't happen. So, you know, we showed you guys, we caught 10 in this trap in this spot. I guess it's been a couple weeks now, but I had 12 total pigs coming in, and that group of 10, plus there was a couple big single boars roaming around. And I guess the other 2 got the hint, because they haven't been spotted on a single game camera since we trapped these pigs over here. we've got the Hog Eye camera in here that sends me an alert every time there's any kind of motion in front of it, which it keeps doing right now because I'm standing in front of it. But I've also got where Houston shot his deer, and a deer feeder and a camera on the other side of this field. No pigs, so that's a good problem to have. I do enjoy the pig trapping. I just don't like having them here on the property, so it has worked great. But I'm gonna go ahead and rebait it, because you just never know. I know there's a couple in the area. I've been keeping it baited for the last couple weeks, so I've kind of settled in on a mixture. Now we do use a lot of different options. We have a lot of different options when we bait this pig trap, but as far as just general feed goes, the 4-way blend that I feed my livestock is the best. It works great, and when it gets wet and kind of stinks and smells, that's even better, because pigs like that too. So I kind of mix it with some Lucky Buck Freak Factor. The deer absolutely love this stuff. Now, the problem is, well, the deer in here constantly, that Lucky Buck really draws them in any kind of feed. Right now, they've been starving for fresh food. But if you'll notice, I don't know if you can really see very well, we're kind of greening up just a little bit around here. So having a couple fall rains has really shot a little bit of that cool season grasses up and getting a little bit of growth out of that. But anyways, I'm gonna bait my pig trap and head over and check on the deer feeder, show you guys some pictures. We've had a lot of deer coming into our feeders. I'm gonna probably end up going over to Mill Creek and checking that property out too, and putting some feed out for the deer over there. It's almost that magical rut time when the bucks are traveling in the daylight. The bucks are looking for does, and this time of year is like magic for seeing bucks and getting bucks on camera, and hunting is fixing to get hot. So this is one of the capsule deer feeders I bought this year. I've never used one of these until this year. I just found them online. They popped up on Facebook, honestly. It was a goofy ad that popped up on Facebook, and I saw them and I thought, man, that might work. Because the problem you have typically with deer feeders when you have pigs in the area is the pigs will come in and root and push and bump, and they'll end up knocking over your feeder and tearing it up, dumping out all the feed. And so far, this has really held up well to the pigs. I've got a lot of pictures of that group of 10 that we caught, and all of them standing right around this thing at night. They were coming in, late at night. You really almost can't hunt the pigs around here because they don't come in the daylight very often. But I'm going to test this thing. Now, one thing I will say, this is the larger size that has the semi-truck tire. That is a very heavy feeder, especially when it's full of corn. And even just having that wide base of that truck tire, it's really hard for the pigs to flip it over. The smaller one that I bought that's at Mill Creek, you can drive stakes into the feet, the legs, or, well, at the base of it, and hold it in place. But the problem I'm having with the one at Mill Creek, you see all this dust? The way these things are made, there's an auger inside. It goes down to the base, and that auger spins, and it brings the corn up and throws it out. And that dust is building up inside the base, and it's not throwing as much corn as I feel like it should. I'm going to test this one out, though. I think it's still throwing pretty well. It's a little bit bigger design, I think, and that dust doesn't seem to affect it as bad, but I'm going to test it out real quick. This Freak Factor, Lucky Buck Freak Factor, you can mix it with corn. You saw me mix it with the other feed for the deer. Man, they just absolutely love it. And I'm afraid to mix it in these capsule feeders because I think the powder, the dust in it, is going to cause them to clog up even worse than just the corn dust. So, well, let's see if any bucks show up. I will say, I say that, let's see if any bucks show up. Well, I'll tell you, that game camera right there in the last week has exploded with buck pictures. And lots of little bucks, lots of those 2 and 3 year old, well, a few of those 2 and 3 year old age group bucks. But there's one deer that Houston and I have been waiting to show up on this property. We have not seen him since last winter. Houston found one shed. It was a deer that Okay. It was a deer that we called Limpy Gimpy because he's got a messed up back leg. And we've hunted that deer for 3 years. And last night, well, this morning, he came in. He showed up for the first time since like December, something like that. We found one shed and haven't seen him since. And Limpy Gimpy is alive and has returned. And we're talking about probably a 5-year-old buck that is almost completely nocturnal. And I'm going to see if we can get some better pictures of him with this Lucky Buck Freak Factor. But there's a good chance. Well, there's not many deer on our property right now that have got me excited to get out and hunt, to harvest a deer for myself. Limpy Gimpy's one of them. He's a big mature buck that's going to be really hard to harvest. He's smart. He's old. And Houston's like, his mind, he's like, so we may do some bow hunting. But if nothing else, I guarantee you the kids are going to be back here rifle hunting in just a couple weeks. And hopefully, old Limpy Gimpy's still around. Well, it looks like our pond caught a little bit of water, but I would say it's still a good 3 feet below normal. So some water's better than none, but I'm curious what the new pond on the Mill Creek property looks like. So we'll see it later this afternoon probably. What are you doing? Why and how? 2 questions. Why is that the best place out of all this to lounge? Uh-oh, you're gonna fall. Come on, man. Copper. Seriously? Oh, that's what you want, huh? Why are you sleeping on top of there? And I want to know how you get up there. Alright. It's perfectly round. Well, when you're not laying on it, it's perfectly round. You kind of had it smashed down a little bit, buddy. You just want breakfast? Here. You're going to make my hands stink, everything. You smell like a billy goat. You know that, Copper? You know, I love this place. It's awesome, but we have got a ton of cedar trees to remove off this property. Just to clean it up and make it nicer. The cedar trees are just terrible. They're an awful, eastern red cedar's an awful, terrible invasive species that takes over a forest. But in other news, get up here. This little game camera site has been very active. This little spot I showed you a while back, look at that tree. I would say those are beautiful fall, autumn colors. Leaves are changing, and it is compared to the green around it, but that's not normal. Anyways, tons and tons of trail camera pictures right here. I'm going to dump out a bucket of feed. So I've been feeding that the Lucky Buck Mineral and Freak Factor mix right here. I didn't bring a bag of Freak Factor with me. I just brought a bucket of feed. So I don't have anything set up here to hunt, but I just really truly enjoy running these game cameras and seeing what all comes in, seeing what kind of deer we have on the property, and just feeding the wildlife, really. And back on the subject of this, what looks like a really pretty fall foliage on an oak tree, the problem is I'm a little concerned we may have lost this tree during the drought, because it is significantly different than every other oak tree around it. And there's quite a few. I mean, there's a couple different varieties, but this is a huge, beautiful tree. And it's been brown for at least, gosh, 3 weeks now. So here's an example of what those Eastern red cedar will do. I know a lot of you are like, don't cut down all the cedar trees, they're pretty. So here's a very small juvenile tree, you know, maybe a year or two old, 4 feet tall, something like that. Next to, it's growing up in and around this big, beautiful oak tree. But if you just look just a little ways on the other side of the tree, here's another Eastern red cedar. And it's surrounded by 4 or 5 more there. One there, one there, one here. They just choke out. I mean, there's tons just in eye shot right here. And they'll choke out all the native vegetation. See, here's another small one that's going to need to be cut out and removed soon. But see that giant one there, this big giant one here. I mean, obviously they've been here for a long time, but you want native species like this big oak tree that produces an acorn crop for the wildlife. These things do nothing but suck up the water and take over the landscape. It's crazy how much it's greened up with just what little bit of rain we have had. Grass is looking really good right now. One thing I haven't done yet is seed the pond dam, and I really need to do that. Wanted to do it before the rain, but we were gone and just hadn't had a chance to do it. But we need to get some grass seed on the pond dam so that it doesn't erode out. I need to bring the tractor over here and level some of this out a little bit better so it's a little smoother, but it's a little muddy right now. But in other news, we caught a little bit more water. I would say about doubled the amount of water that was in the pond. Still going to take a lot of water to fill it up, and it sure is dirty looking right now, but it's a start, I guess. It's not great, but it could be worse. This is my other little capsule feeder that I was telling you about earlier this morning. As you can see, it has holes in the base where you can drive, you know, a stake down in there, but haven't had any issues yet. But we haven't had any pigs in this location yet. But this is the one I was telling you that the auger tends to get clogged up on the bottom, but it's got plenty of corn in it right now, so we're gonna leave it be. I'm gonna adjust my game camera just a little bit. It's kind of pointed funky direction, but this little camera right here has been sending me some really good pictures. So one of the I don't know if it's, I would say maybe the most rewarding and exciting things for me so far about buying this piece of property, so if you guys don't know, a lot of you probably do know that the property that I live on, where our house is and our farm, is 110 acres that I grew up on. So I didn't actually buy it. I did inherit that from my father when I was in my early 20s. But this place is 80 acres. We're driving across right now. 80 acres that we bought ourselves. And it's so rewarding to see, like, I'm a deer hunter at heart. I love to hunt, but I love the management side of the wildlife. And running all these game cameras and just seeing all the different deer activity on the property, and having the feral hogs come in and getting to take care of those and remove them and make the property better, and all the work that we've done here to make the place better, which I'll actually be back out here probably tomorrow and the next 2 days doing a collaboration with another YouTuber, a channel that probably a lot of you have heard of, but not a big channel. Anyways, he's bringing some equipment down, and he's going to try out some of my equipment, and we're just going to use this place to do some work to demonstrate some of you know, the tractors and equipment and stuff. So it's a good place to get some work done. I enjoy working on the land, making it better than what it was when we bought it, and leaving it better for my kids or the next generation or the next owner. I don't really know yet. So, but either way, we're getting some pictures of some good deer. The bucks are starting to show up, and the rut's going to be kicking in the next week or two probably. Well, I made it home from the Mill Creek property, and the guys that are working on DJ's donkey stalls under the barn have made some serious progress. And I can't remember what it looked like the last time I showed you guys, but we're getting very close to being completed on this project. Now, I'm going to point out a couple things. We are not getting pet monkeys. Donkeys cannot fly. Well, let me show you what I'm talking about. Now, I know I keep calling these donkey stalls or horse stalls, but basically they're going to be used for any of our animals that we need to pin up in a small stall area, so we don't have to do, you know, like we did with Lucy recently and put them in here on the dirt floor with temporary portable panels. Now, I will say the bottom is all open still because it's going to be done in lumber, everything except the doors. And actually they do have the doors or gates welded on this side, not the back side yet, but so there will be boards from that part down. However, from there up, they welded an entire panel on there. And so, well, this side's panels. This side's not going to have boards on it. There's no reason to put boards next to the wall. But what I was saying was, this is a 5-foot tall panel, and these are at a 4-foot level where the boards are going to be. They went ahead and put another panel way up there. If we ever decide to get pet monkeys, we could probably just about keep them in here. Obviously, donkeys don't need sides this tall for any reason. Look, that one goes all the way up. But it's because those panels were 5 foot tall and they just stuck it up there and welded it in place, which is perfectly fine because I'm sure we will use this for chickens too. Don't tell DJ. One of these would make a really good chicken coop. Just saying. Really good chicken coop. The outside fence probably wouldn't be quite tall enough for chickens, but I don't know if she'll let me do that or not. She may not like the idea of me using her donkey stalls as a chicken coop, but wouldn't that make a perfect chicken coop? I think it would. But anyways, they've got a lot done. And they finished up for the day. I do have one thing that I asked them to go ahead and add. They did a square tubing at the top and a square tubing at the bottom. But I know how goats are, and goats will sit here and just headbutt that fence. So we're going to put a middle support in there just to brace it for the goats. But as you can see, it's coming right along. That's incredibly tall. We don't need them that tall, but it is what it is. It's fine. I'm not complaining by any means, but this is going to be really, really good for when we have baby goats, a baby alpaca, baby donkeys, whatever it is. It's going to be good. Well, I got the animals fed. Everybody's happy. Didn't show all that today, but I got one more thing I do want to show you before I wrap this up, and that is our landscaping. We got our landscaping finished, and by we, I mean my friend that I hired, who is trying to do more landscaping with his lawn and spraying company. Finished it up while we were in Florida in the rain. The guy was out here working his tail off, but look, let me walk you around and show you real quick. This turned out really good. And apparently Bella thinks this is about her. And so does Earl, and so does Bear. Hey, listen guys, we're talking about flower beds. So all of the rocks, all the big boulders were what was left over from Houston's pond project, because we had an entire semi load, because it was the same price to buy a full semi as it was half a semi. You're gonna be all right. But it turned out really, really nice. I think this is going to be awesome. Kind of disguises that ugly concrete wall. It's not standing up there so tall. Bella, could you go hack somewhere else? But we use a lot of, you know, not necessarily flowering plants, except those two mums right there. Earl, get out of the flower bed. Because that's part of the problem we're trying to, you know, plan for, is dogs and everybody in there. But not a lot of flowering plants, a lot of grasses, a lot of ground covers and things. And he threw in some river rock in there to kind of add to it. Bear, get out of there. See, there's a learning curve here, but I know a few people were like, why in the world would you put those big ugly fountain grasses there? But, well, you know, we're trying here. So we're just going to see what works. We may have to change some things out over time, but keeping the leaves out is going to be a chore. But I think it's going to look really, really good over time. And those boulders tie into the boulders that we have over there for Houston's Pond. And everything kind of, well, let me block the sun for you. Everything kind of flows together now. So it all ties in, goes all the way around. We use that old water trough. That old cattle water trough up there that the mums are in doesn't have a bottom in it. So it should be something that we can just change out the mums and put something else in different times of the year. So, yeah, awesome. Great job. Billings Lawn Care is hopefully going to become Billings Lawn Care and Landscaping, because the dude's got talent. He did a good job, and we really appreciate it. So anyways, that's going to wrap it up for me, guys. That's all I've got for today. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. You guys have a great day, and as always, we'll see you on the next video.